Good morning. Welcome to Liberty Forum. My name is Tammy Garthwaite. I used to be Tammy Simmons, the Tammy Simmons, according to lots of things. Sammy Timmons, someplace online. That's actually not me. Things. I am not a Free Stater, just to clarify. I've lived in New Hampshire for about 30 years. I escaped the Empire State, the evil Empire State of New York, well before Jason even wrote his paper on that created the Free State Project. A little bit about me. I am a small L libertarian Republican. Emphasis on the small L. I have always been a Republican from as long as I can remember. Over the years, and the point of this talk is, over the years, because of the liberty movement here in New Hampshire, the needle keeps moving. We win. We don't win always in big ways. We win in little ways, because you can't make change in big ways all at once. People are resistant to that. So you just chip away at it, and we keep chipping away at it, and the needle keeps moving and moving and moving. And I was always a very socially conservative Republican. That's just that's what I thought. And then over the years, one of the things Marion was saying to Drew Klein this morning is, the thing about libertarianism is people have discussions, and people are open to other points of view. So I might disagree with somebody, but I'd want to have the conversation so that we can move that needle, so that we can make change and find the best way to have more freedom and more liberty in our lifetimes. So that being said, I did serve 2 terms in the New Hampshire House, so I have a little bit of background there, and we'll talk about some of that later. But in New Hampshire, I think the biggest piece of moving the needle, short of every individual person, has been the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance. Melissa Creem is the chair of the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance, and she's going to talk about that. They've been getting people elected and holding them responsible for their votes for years. So with that, I'll let Melissa talk.
Oops, I've already messed up my speech. All right. So, yeah, thanks for coming to Liberty Forum. I'm glad everybody's here. That's awesome. Liberty Forum is my favorite event that the FSP puts on. And that said, NHLA, I'm going to get emotional. It's my favorite liberty group in New Hampshire. I am Melissa Creem. I have lived in New Hampshire probably at least as long as Tammy has. I moved prior to the Free State movement. So over 30 years, I've raised a family here. Lived in Nashua for at least that long as well. So I'm really glad that Liberty Forum is back in Nashua. If you need to know where to eat, let me know. If you don't want to eat here, I know all the good restaurants. I am a founding member of the Women's Defense League. I'm an NRA certified instructor. And yes, as Tammy said, I am the current chair of NHLA, the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance. So I think most people probably in this room already know what NHLA is, but for the sake of the video, we're going to tell you what it is, okay? NHLA, the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance, is a coalition of members. We are monitoring the bills that are going through the State House. So we have a group of, it's all volunteer, nonpartisan, and we evaluate pretty much, there's about 1,000 bills that go through the State House every year. We monitor them, and we evaluate them as to whether they are pro-liberty or anti-liberty bills. They get a rating. We score them. I think it's, 0 to 30. 30 is, I think, a very pro-liberty bill, and 0 would be anti-liberty. Once they're rated, we create a document. It's called the gold standard. There's some at my table. I should have had one here. I'm unprepared. The gold standard is a document we create, and we select the high priority bills. We don't put every single bill on the gold standard, but bills that are going to make a big impact on New Hampshire, they're on that gold standard. And we're telling our legislators with the gold standard how to vote. If it's pro-liberty, we're saying vote this pro-liberty bill, make it law. If it's anti-liberty, we tell them vote against it. And it is handed out. We have, again, all volunteers. It is handed out by a group of volunteers at the State House. I think Tammy is one of them, handing it out every time the legislature is in session. And it is emailed to all of our representatives at the State House. So they know what we expect at NHLA as far as the votes go. Then we watch how they actually voted. We score them. They get an A+ rating from NHLA all the way down to CT, which stands for Constitutional Threat. If you're a CT, we don't want you in the State House. We want to get you out. And every year after we've evaluated them and rated them A+ to constitutional threat, we create a document called the Liberty Rating. It's a scorecard, a report card of sorts, which tells you which legislators are A+ and which are constitutional threats. Tony Lekis just walked in. He's one of our legislators of the year. Thank you, Tony. Yep. So they get that scorecard, and that scorecard, what we do is we evaluate them, and then we endorse B+ reps and above. So we will, at NHLA, we have 3 funds. We have an operations fund. It helps us create that gold standard. It helps us keep our website going. It helps us keep the organization running. We have a PAC, which we use to give money to our endorsed reps. And then we have what we call the Civic Action Fund, which is my favorite fund. It is because we believe in voluntary charity. So the Civic Action Fund gives money to a New Hampshire citizen who might be in trouble in some way. If we hear about them, my favorite story is there was a woman, she was a Free Stater, her house caught on fire. NHLA gave her some money to pay for her hotel basically the next day. Rather than wait for the government, our former political director drove a check to her where she was the next day. So she had money to get the hotel for her family of 4 kids. So there's that. So we started back in 2003, and that is when the FSP started. Tammy's asked me to, kind of talk about how NHLA has moved that needle towards liberty. So yes, the Free State Project and NHLA started the same year. That said, the NHLA was started by non-Free Staters. It wasn't Free Staters that moved here and got it going. It was native New Hampshire people. So that's pretty huge. Tells you about the locals here. And since you have to be a resident for 7 years before you can be a senator in New Hampshire, and I think it's at least 2 years before you can be a rep in New Hampshire, it's safe to say that in 2003 there were no Free Staters in the legislature. Okay? So Tammy wanted me to give you, how many Free Staters over the course of the years, and I don't think we can know that. I looked, we don't know. The reason being, Free Staters, first of all, will come here under fake names. So we don't even know your real name sometimes. And then they also don't like to sign up for things. So they moved here, some of them, without ever signing up to be on the Free State Project. They heard about the Free State Project, they moved here and didn't tell the Free State Project they were here, and I think they still consider themselves Free Staters. So it's really impossible to know. Exactly. So I can't give you that. But I do have some numbers, and I'll get to those in a minute. And NHLA wouldn't keep track of those numbers anyway because we are too busy with our all-volunteer organization keeping track of the bills, whether they're pro-liberty, anti-liberty, and watching how our representatives vote. So I am not going to spend any time worrying about how many Free Staters did what. So what do we know? We do know, and I'm going to disclose this, that the first known elected Free Stater, the first known one, again, was Joel Winters. He was elected in 2008 as a Democrat. We know by 2010, there were at least 12 known Free State members in the legislature, and they were all Republicans. So Joel was a Democrat. By 2010, 12 of them, and we know they were running as Republicans. By 2017, there were 17 known Free Staters in the State House. But like I said, most of us, myself included, don't like to be on lists. Well, and that brings me to my next part of this little talk, is that there is a list out there, this progressive group run by a former state senator. She was a constitutional threat by NHLA standards. there was a list that came out of this group's enemies, right? And that at that point, everybody wanted to be on that list. Oh, everybody's like, hey, I was on the list. And I'm proud to say NHLA made the list. And NHLA, and I'm proud to say a lot of our endorsed reps made that list. And so, I always get upset when I think, we're a liberty organization. How can these people be like, no liberty, like they're enemies? I don't get it. Yeah.
How is that possible?
I'm so sorry to hear that.
We can give you one of Mari's, because Mari's on the list twice. So we're not dealing with the brightest people that are making the list, just so you know.
All right. So in the end, what I do want to say is that electing free staters to the legislature is not what matters. It's great if they're principled in liberty. So that's my big thing, is you have to be principled in liberty, and NHLA is not about one issue of liberty. We're about all of it. And NHLA isn't, about what your biggest concern is, and it's about liberty for all. That's phrased in the, I want to say the Declaration. It's not the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Liberty and justice for all. So we're about the private business owner being able to run his business, and that's what NHLA is. We're principled in liberty, all the issues for everybody. It's tough. It's not an easy task. I'll tell you that right now. In 2004, NHLA had 6 A- or higher reps at the State House. So we started in 2003. We evaluated them in 2004. And in that year, there was just 6 A- or higher reps at the State House. This is the data I do have for you. 2006 to 2008, the average of A- or higher reps went to 30. 2009 to 2011, the A- or higher reps was 69. So we're growing. 2012 to 2014, your average A- or higher was 76. Now we dropped. I don't quite know why. I haven't done a whole huge analysis on this. 2015 to 2016, it was 60. But by 2021 to 2023, the average of pro-liberty reps, A- or higher, was 92. And that's out of 424. We have in New Hampshire, I don't know how many of you are aware, we have 400 representatives and 24 senators. So out of those 424, we have 92. It doesn't sound like a huge figure, but it's enough to push that needle towards liberty. When they work together, we really do make a difference, and that's what NHLA does, is we're pointing towards liberty. So in this, I'm kind of, yes, Mark.
The majority of the laws that passed in that session passed by that number.
Yeah.
So that gave, at that time, what I call the libertarian veto. Essentially, you had to have the NHLA on your side in order to pass your law.
And that's still true. It's very true today. The feedback I get is from the State House is, they're going to kill that bill because NHLA won't support it. It happens still. And I want you to keep in mind that I'm kind of hard. And NHLA endorses you from our PAC B+ and higher reps. I'm not counting the B+. To me, I want you to be A- or higher. All right? So I'm hard. When I looked at these figures, I wasn't giving my B+ the credit they probably deserve. To me, I want you A- or higher, so they need to step it up. We'll still endorse them. I'm not saying NHLA is changing that at all, but for the purpose of my talk, you got to be an A-. So these reps did make a huge difference. We know they've made a huge difference. We need them there to keep New Hampshire free and push our liberties further. Their votes for liberty have helped us to get all knives are legal in New Hampshire for all legal purposes. So if you want a dirk or a dagger, whatever you want, as long as it's for a legal purpose in New Hampshire, we got that through the State House. We got constitutional carry through the State House in New Hampshire, which is huge. We kept New Hampshire sales and income tax free. That's a really big deal. Right now, defense counsels can inform the jury about jury nullification. I don't know if you're all familiar with jury nullification, but in New Hampshire, defense counsel it's an option for them to notify the jury of jury nullification. We're phasing out the income and the interest and dividends tax, so that's huge too. It's not. It's being phased out. So it was by 2025, it'll be gone.
We'll come back to that.
Yep. I'm just kind of touching on things because I know our legislators are going to go deeper. And there's so much that NHLA, those legislators at the State House have done. My thing with NHLA is that we point the way to liberty. That's all we do. Is we're evaluating those bills and we point to freedom. We're pointing you to how to be a free state. We are the premier principled liberty organization in New Hampshire. I think in the United States. Right now, there are 2 other states that are looking to start their own NHLA of sorts. Connecticut and Tennessee are trying, but for right now, we are the premier liberty organization in New Hampshire, in the United States, and I think in the world. That's just me, though. The legislators that are in that State House, they're and fighting in the direction that NHLA points, they're our heroes, and they deserve our respect and support. They're amazing. They're in there. They're on the front lines every week, while the legislature is in session, fighting for us, fighting for liberty. And so I do. I respect them. I support them. I appreciate them more than they know. And then the other way we know that we're making a difference at NHLA or with the Free State Project is making a difference is that Boston.com, I just have a couple of quotes here. They said, the power gathered by Free State members has alarmed both parties. So that's indicative. And then there was this guy, Tom Sherman. He's a Democratic senator at a picnic. He said, they now control essentially the Republican Party, the Free Staters, in theory. So in conclusion, whether it's that people moved here for the FSP project, for the FSP, or because of its awesome liberty-loving locals, we are grateful to have our legislators, our liberty legislators at the State House pushing liberty forward. I appreciate them so much. We have Keith Ammon is here, Erica Leon, Tony. I don't know if I'm missing anybody. Oh, Dan McGuire. If you see these people, if you talk to them, they are wonderful liberty people. They are working in New Hampshire. I'm sure they're happy to discuss legislation with you, happy to discuss your concerns, and they're here today. So make the most of your time. Talk to those guys. That's it.
So what's a membership?
Oh, membership. So she wants me to talk about joining. So we do have a vendor table in the vendor area, nhliberty.org/join. Membership, if you're going to be an activist and review bills for us, go to the State House and hand out the gold standard. If you're going to help us out, you can join as an activist member for the bargain price of nothing. $0. If you want to be a full member, the membership for 1 year of full membership is $25. And if you want to join as a lifetime member, which I highly recommend, $500.
Goes to all the different funds. With NHLA, you're supporting certainly one of the most premier liberty organizations on the planet.
Thank you.
Doing it, I'm a lifetime member and so proud, even though I don't live in Detroit.
Thank you. So, yeah, listen to him.
Mark says.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.